After many African countries gained their independence, majority of the white people fled Africa and went back to their countries of origin. However, few of them remained, and after several years, others came back to form part of the current white population in many African countries. In today's video, we are going to cover the top 15 African countries with the highest number of white populations. Number 15, Zimbabwe, 29,000 or 1% whites. After Zimbabwe gained independence, the Europeans lost their power and many returned to their countries of origin. The white population in Zimbabwe currently consists of descendants of the few who remained in the country. Number 14, Mauritius, 37,000 or 2% whites. Mauritius was colonized by the Dutch, the French, and lastly by the British. The current white population in Mauritius consists of the French descendants and a smaller number of the British descendants. Number 13, Zambia, 40,000 or 0.6% whites. Just like Zimbabwe, Zambia was also colonized by the British. The current white population in Zambia are descendants of the few Britons who remained in the country after independence. Number 12, Eswatini, 41,000 or 3% whites. The current white population in Eswatini is majorly made up of the descendants of the Portuguese who originally settled in the country, with a significant number of British people, as Eswatini was once a British protectorate. Number 11, Ivory Coast, 50,000 or 0.7% whites. Ivory Coast was a French colony until 1960, when the country gained autonomy. After independence, majority of the French went back to France, and few who remained are the ancestors of the current white population in Ivory Coast. Number 10, Senegal, 50,000 or 0.8% whites. Senegal was a major route for transatlantic slave trade during the colonial era. The current white population in Senegal are majorly of French origin and few Portuguese, as Senegal was colonized by the French and Portuguese. Number 9, Botswana, 63,800 or 3% whites. Some of the Dutch people who initially settled in South Africa migrated to Botswana to escape from British imperialism. The current white population in Botswana is composed of the Dutch farmers and the few British who followed them. Number 8, Kenya, 67,000 or 0.3% whites. In 1903, the British government encouraged its people to settle in Kenya by offering them land leases and tax exemptions. After independence, majority went back to Britain, but few remained to give birth to the current white population in Kenya. Number 7, Mozambique, 82,000 or 2% whites. Mozambique was colonized by the Portuguese, and the current white population in Mozambique are descendants of the original Portuguese settlers. Number 6, Tunisia, 100,000 or 1% whites. Tunisia was colonized by the French in 1881, and many French people migrated to Tunisia, followed by Italians. The current white population in Tunisia are descendants of the French and Italians who initially settled in the country. Number 5, Morocco, 100,000 or 0.3%. The current white population in Morocco is composed of the descendants of French and Spanish people who ruled Morocco from 1912 to 1956. Number 4. Madagascar, 120,000 or 0.57% whites. During the colonial period, the French negotiated for parts of Madagascar until they gained control of the whole island. The current white population in Madagascar are descendants of French settlers. Number 3. Namibia, 154,000 or 8% whites. When Namibia was under South Africa's rule, thousands of Dutch farmers found their way into Namibia to claim the fertile agricultural lands. The current white population in Namibia are descendants of the Dutch, British, and German settlers. Number 2. Angola, 220,000 or 1.2% whites. When Angola was under Portuguese rule, many Portuguese left Portugal and came and settled in Angola. After Angola gained independence, few of them remained to give birth to the current white population in Angola. Number 1. South Africa, 4,602,000 or 8.7% whites. And finally, topping the list of the top 10 African countries with the highest number of white populations is South Africa. The first Dutch ship landed on the shores of Cape of Good Hope in 1952. When they docked, they cleared the land for cultivation and built settlements. They were later joined by the French, further increasing the number of white population in the country. These early settlers are the ancestors of Afrikaans, who now make up about 8.7% of the total South African population and in control of bigger portions of agricultural land in South Africa. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Be sure to like, share and subscribe as I bring you more information on the African continent, people and culture.